Okay guys, so today I'm going to be changing the oil in the E320. This is the W210 chassis. It's actually a pretty straightforward oil change. It's a little bit different if you've done oil changes on other cars, so I'm going to go ahead and do a quick video on it. The materials that you're going to use are going to be some Mobil 1 oil. I'm going to use the European Car Formula 0W40. There's a lot of different threads online. You can kind of go through and read and see what oil type is going to be the best for your climate. I think this one will work for most people, so this is what I'm going to go ahead and use. You will need right around 7 quarts for this oil change. I went ahead and just grabbed 2 big jugs off of Amazon, and I'll put the link in the description below. A few other things you're going to need that may not already be in your toolbox. You'll need one of these topsider suction vacs. This is actually relatively inexpensive, but it's going to save a lot of time on this oil change. To change this oil the conventional way, there's a pan that's underneath the engine under the car. You got to jack it up, you got to remove this pan, and instead of doing that, we're just going to use one of these topsiders, and it's actually what most independent German mechanics will use. So this isn't a shortcut, this is just a better way to do it. On top of that, we'll need a filter. I'm going to use the MAN filter. There are some cheaper ones that you can use. This car's only got 100,000 miles on it, and I want it to run for a really long time, so I didn't cheap out on the filter, so I'm going to go ahead and use the MAN filter. And then lastly, you're going to need one of these. This is a 74 millimeter oil cap tool, and I'll put the link in the description. It's 14 flute. You'll also need a breaker bar or a ratchet, and essentially what this is going to do is it's going to go right here on the oil cap, and it's going to let you take the thing apart so you can replace the filter. So we're going to go ahead and zoom in, and we're going to start this. You can kind of see the steps. Again, it's a really straightforward oil change, so it shouldn't take us too long at all. Alright guys, so just warmed up the motor here for a couple of minutes. You don't want to get the oil hot, but you do want it warm, so just left the car running for a couple of minutes. What we're going to do is we're going to pull out the oil dipstick here, go ahead and put that in a safe spot. And then you're going to take your topsider here, and the topsider comes with 2 different sizes of hose. I'm going to use the thinner one. If you can use a bigger one, it's going to drain faster, but I'm going to go ahead and just use this thin one so that it slides down. You're going to feel a stop. Don't jam it in once it stops. If you jam it in, there's a chance it can get caught in there, and then you're going to have a much bigger problem. So go ahead and put that in, and then you're going to pump the topsider, and you're going to see the oil start to drain out. And we're going to go ahead and just leave it here, and you'll know when it's done because you'll start to see air bubbles coming up with the oil. So it just, once the suction starts, you just leave it for 5 to 10 minutes and let all the oil drain out. And about halfway through, you can go ahead and you can loosen up this cap here. And I'm not going to take it off, I'm just going to kind of loosen it. Okay? And that's just going to make sure that there's nothing fighting the suction as it's coming out. Okay, so we'll let this sit and we'll let the oil drain, and then once it's come up, we'll go ahead into the next step. Okay, so you guys will really be able to see when it's done because you'll see a bunch of bubbles coming through. See, we've got just a little bit that fell back down, but it'll pump right out, and then it'll start making that sound. And that's how you know you've gotten all of it. And then you're just going to take your rag here and pull this out, just like that. Okay, the next step here is going to be to remove this. I've already loosened it as you guys saw before. Just loosen it, and you keep finger tight, like this. And this cover, I've seen a lot of people take this off. You can actually just kind of push on it a little bit and it should come right out, and have a rag handy that you can pull it directly out, and you can see that's the filter there. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just wipe this off real quick, and then we'll remove this from this piece. Okay, so I just wanted to get all the rest of the supplies out here. Make sure you're using clean rags around this. You don't want any contaminants to fall in while you're doing the job. And inside the filter box, you're gonna have a little bag, and it's gonna have all these different O-rings that you're gonna use for the job. It'll have the O-rings and it will have the filter itself. Now, when you're looking at this, essentially, it's pretty straightforward. This piece, your old filter, is going to pull right off, and you're just going to kind of work it off like that. And we'll go ahead and set that down. And then you can kind of see on this stalk where each of these falls. You're going to have one right there, you're going to have one right there, you're going to have one of these right here, and then you're going to have this big one right here. And we'll go ahead through the procedure of actually taking these things off and replacing them. I'm going to take them all off first and then replace all of them. And it's generally a good idea to kind of lube these up with your fingers as you're doing it, because it'll slide on easier. Okay, so these O-rings are going to come off pretty easily, and I can actually tell. I'm not sure if it'll show up on the video here. Let's see if I can get this for you guys to see. Anyway, these obviously haven't been changed in a while, which is kind of concerning to me, because the last couple of oil changes were done at an independent shop, so that kind of tells me their thoroughness. These are really hard and flat, so it's a good thing that we've got them. We're going to go ahead and change them, and it's pretty straightforward. You're going to just kind of pop off the O-ring, stick this underneath like that, and it'll come right out. You can see that's how good these O-rings are. They're definitely ready to be replaced. Go ahead and do the same with this one. And this one's actually slightly better. And we'll go ahead and just cover up that hole. And this is not like a special tool. This is just a pick. You could use any pick or any flathead screwdriver, should get you just about the same result. And go ahead with this last one here. This one actually feels like this one's been getting replaced, which is a good sign, because this one's the external one. This one's pretty elastic. That's really good to see. And then we'll go ahead and we'll just replace them in the reverse order. And essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to dip my finger in the new oil, and I'm going to just go around it just like that. You just want to get a little bit on there, and it's not really a need to do, but it's going to make getting this thing on a whole lot easier. You want to try and avoid stretching it, like put it on evenly, because if you stretch it, when you spin it down onto there's a chance it can pinch, and then your new O-ring is shot. So just go ahead and oil it up, put it down evenly, and then move on to the next one. Next one here, same thing. Just get a little bit of oil, and you could use gloves. I don't think this little bit of new oil is going to hurt my fingers, but you get a better feel without the gloves. So that's why I don't have gloves. Go ahead here. This next one, there we go. Okay, and then the next smaller size, and I've still got oil on my finger, so that's be good there. So I'll just slide right down, just like that. Okay, and then the last one. Okay, there we go. And then the thing that you want to do with this oil filter when you're putting this back on is you want to make sure that you spin it down onto it. You don't want to just jam it down onto it. So make sure that you're spinning it when you put it down. Okay, I just want to touch on this real quick. Your kit is going to come with 5 O-rings. This shaft can actually be removed. I'm not going to remove it this time, but that's where this 5th O-ring goes in. This filter is also the same one that's going to be used on the V8 model, actually, and the O-ring placement's slightly different on it. So don't worry about that. Just kind of check your O-rings while you're doing this, and then when you put this on, again, you're going to kind of go like that and twist it on, and you do that so that way the O-ring doesn't disappear on you. And you can see this O-ring is firmly planted in there, nice new O-ring, so it's not going anywhere. So you want to make sure you get it up in there, and this instruction sheet is not very clear, but as you can see, you'll know that it's all the way in there when you can only see one line. So that's what check mark X means. Make sure that it's all the way up in there, just like that, and that will tell you that it's ready to be reinstalled. So now that it's in there, we'll go ahead and we'll reinstall it. Okay, and you can kind of finger tighten it, and then you are going to need a torque wrench. This needs to be tightened down to 25 Newton meters, and we'll go ahead and do that. And yeah, once you've tightened it down, you're going to be all set, and you can go ahead and refill the oil. Okay, so now all you're going to do is you're going to take off this cap here, set it somewhere where it's not going to fall down, and you can go ahead and fill this up. And what we're going to do is we're going to put 5 quarts in here. We're going to check the level. It's going to be pretty low, and then we'll go ahead and top off with the remaining 2 quarts. So we'll go ahead and do that real quick. Okay, so we went ahead and put another right around 2 quarts in on top of that 5 quarts, so that gets it right up to 7. On the dipstick, it's showing right halfway in between empty and full. We're going to run it around a little bit, top it off as needed, and that's it. You don't have to jack the car up at all. You don't have to take any of the under panels off. All you got to do is suck the oil out, replace the filter and the O-rings, and a very leisurely oil change, I'd say, compared to a lot of the others that we've done. So that's it. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and check out my other videos.